Hello and welcome to another Purveyor of Light Photoshop quick tip. Today we have an interesting one. We have a user submitted picture, and it was asked to give it a constructive critique and as well as doing a post-processing in Photoshop to see what we could do with the photo. Again, everything I do here is subjective. Okay, I will be editing the photo to my personal tastes and what I like. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm right or wrong. I believe photography, especially the post-processing, is a very personal touch and as well as a creative one. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so the first thing, I'm looking at the photo here in the raw editor. We're a little underexposed. We're going to bring that up, and I'm looking at the whole photograph right now. I'm looking at areas that pop to my eye, problem things, and I can already see that there are a number of things that we're going to have to address in Photoshop. So one of the first things I'm going to do here is I'm going to disregard the background, and I'm going to totally concentrate and develop this photo for the subject, okay? Which means I'm going to be concerned about her skin tones, her dress, hair, and so forth, and I really have no concerns right now whatsoever for the background. Okay, so the temperature is the first thing I'm going to do, and I need to warm this up. Her skin is too on the pink side. So I'm going to warm that up to maybe 63. Okay, 6350 on Kelvin. The exposure, I'm going to bump that up as well. Let's see how far I want to go. I'm again using our histogram up here as I'm making the adjustments. Make sure I'm not blowing out anything. And I'm thinking about +1 on the exposure. Looks pretty good on the histogram. I'm definitely not blowing anything out. The photograph, little contrast wouldn't hurt. So I'll bring a little contrast into the photo. And now the highlights. I don't really see that many highlights that need to be recovered. So if I come in, I can just by taste determine what highlights I want to recover. And again, I really don't have that many highlights I wish to bring back. The shadows, on the other hand, I definitely want to work with. The black lace dress, it has such detail in it, but it's getting muddied here, right in here. So I want to bring the details so we can really appreciate this elaborate dress. So we're going to open up the shadows as much as we can to show the details. So I'm going to slide it all the way over so you can see. Now we can look at the dress and we can see all the intricacies of the dress. Now, of course, this is too much, but what I want to do is I want to find a happy medium where I'm showing enough detail of that dress that I'm happy. And I'm saying about right there, I'm bringing the shadows up. I can see the detail everywhere in the dress, so I'm happy with that. The blacks and the whites, I'm just going to go make sure we have a white point. And I'm just going to slightly have a white point because you should always have a white point. And the blacks, I always want to have a black point. So, okay, so there we are in our histogram. Nothing is clipping, no highlights, and no shadows are clipping in there. So we're looking pretty good. Okay, so I'm happy with the skin tones. I am happy with the dress detail, and the rest we're going to go ahead and go into Photoshop. Now, just because I get in the habit of liking to work non-destructively, I like to work with smart objects as much as possible. And it enables us to do so many things and be so flexible without being destructive. So I'm going to hold the Shift key and open up as an object, which means it's going to open up as a smart object inside Photoshop. Okay, so this way, through the editing process, if I decide maybe halfway through the edit that I want to go back and open up the original smart object and make an adjustment in RAW, I can do so. Okay, so there we are. We are a smart object inside of Photoshop, and now I'm going to quickly come in and make a new layer here, and I am going to pick a color here that's going to see here. This is just for me to turn around and make an edit based on what I have, what I see. Okay. Okay. So what comes out at me right off the bat is this background. I mean, this background, I just don't like it. It's not out of focus enough for me. There's wrinkles in it, and not enough separation between the subject and the background. So we're going to definitely have to work that. The other thing that pops to me here is the eyes. The eyes, they're what I call shark eyes. They're dark. Okay, we don't have any detail. There's a little catch light here, but a very dim one over in this eye. The eyes are a little squinted slightly, and I believe we can definitely improve on the eyes. I'm going to zoom in here and show you what I'm talking about. Okay. The other thing I can see is we have some skin to deal with, some skin blemishes. The next thing too, we have braces. Okay, so that's the next thing. I want to remove the braces out of the photograph. And let's see. I also want to turn around and this hair. It's got some beautiful highlights. They need to be accentuated. So the highlights are going to be accentuated. Here, the cheekbones. I want to turn around and do some dodging and burning here on her features. So I'll do some dodging and burning in these areas. We brought back enough of the dress details that I'm happy with that. And let's see. What else do we have here? A few little skin things need to be addressed. A couple here. And also, I think we need to whiten the teeth just slightly. And the biggest fix in here is going to be the background. And it's going to require the most work. But we'll probably break this up into several parts so it doesn't get too long and bored. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start the post-processing steps. And I just wanted you to see my thought process before I actually start editing the photograph. Is I look at the photograph, I look at the details, I look at what I want to address, and then I formulate a plan to do so. So the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is work on the young lady. So let's go ahead and jump in and get rid of this thing here. And I'm going to do a new layer because, again, non-destructive. And we want to turn around and jump in and look around for skin info protections. This is what I do, the order I work. And these are easy. Use the spot healing brush. Just simply find any blemishes and just go ahead and remove them out. Okay. Again, these are small, really minor little fixes, but you know, it makes a big difference. I believe in the photo editing process is one of small details, but in the end, it makes a huge difference. And always leave a little bit to be believable too. Okay, you don't want the skin to be too perfect, so just take the obvious things, and I think we're pretty good there. She had beautiful skin to start with, so we're there. Okay, so the next thing is going to be the eyes. Okay, so the eyes, you'll notice here in this eye, there's a nice catch light. Okay, and in this eye, there's a catch light, but it's kind of dimmed. It's not doing it, and you'll notice her eyes lack color and depth, and they're a little bit squinty, right? Not bad, but they could be opened up just ever so slightly. So the first thing I want to do is I want to work the catch lights, because catch lights bring life to a photograph. Okay, if you look at any picture that you like, any portrait, catch lights are what make the eyes alive. Okay, it's a small thing, but it's such an important thing. So I'm going to go ahead and, because I want to label this layer, I'm just going to say skin, so we know what we were doing here if we need to go back. I'm going to make a new layer above that, and I'm going to bring my default black and white colors here, and I'm going to take a brush tool, and we're going to make it exactly the same size as this. So let me zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. I want to make my brush the same size as this catch light. Okay. And now I want to come over here, painting with white, and I want to turn around and drop the catch light in here. Okay. Now, don't worry, it's going to get better. Okay. I know it looks a little harsh right now, but we're just going to drop, let me label this catch light. And let's just drop the opacity down just ever so slightly. Okay. And now let's just zoom out to the thing, and you'll notice, okay, just looking at the eyes now, you can see what a difference the catch light makes. Okay. Now we'll just zoom in just a little bit. Okay, just so you can see it here a little bit better. Okay, it makes such a big difference. Okay, so if you turn around and you do the before and you do the after, okay, the before and the after. Again, like I said, in Photoshop, it's about subtlety and minor corrections. They make a huge difference when you're done. Okay, and we're just getting starting on the editing process. Okay, so now we've got the catch light in place. The next thing that I had put in my notes is the eyes. Okay, you notice the eyes. She has blue eyes here. One of the things I want to do is I want to just saturate these eyes, brighten them up a little bit, just to give them a little additional pop. So again, I'm going to make a new layer, and I'm going to use a hue saturation layer. And I'm going to pop that in. And I'm just looking for the colors that I want to work with. And I'm going to select the blues because she has blue eyes. And I'm going to pump up the saturations so I can see it. And then I'm going to just pop till I can see that I'm getting the color that I wish. Okay. Getting that nice blue. Okay. Now, doesn't that look great? Okay, again, don't worry about what we're doing here. We are only concentrating on the eyes, okay? So I'm looking for a believable blue and lightness. Okay, so I'm moving the hue, the saturation, until I get the blue that I want in the eyes. Okay? So now I've done that. I'm happy. I now click on the mask, and I hit Command-I to invert the mask, which hides everything. And now I just simply take my paintbrush and I paint in white in the areas I want to show. So now I just paint in the iris only. Okay. And now I have the paint, and of course you're saying, "Oh my God, that's ridiculous." Again, we're not there. We're doing the adjustments. Okay, the saturations. We're backing the saturation off. Okay, and we're also gonna back off the opacity. Okay, till we get what we like. Okay, a little bit adjustment on the light. And again, I'm looking, you may not be able to see that in the video, but again, I'm looking for what is a realistic blue eye, okay, with life in it. Okay, so again, now we turn around and do the before and after. There's the before, and there's the after. Again, the before and the after. Okay, very small, subtle adjustments, but they make a huge difference. Okay, so the next thing on the list. Okay, I was talking about the eyes, and the eyes are definitely here. What I'm looking at, they're just a little bit squinted, just a little bit, not much, but you know, it makes a person look so much nicer when their eyes are big and wide open, and it just actually looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to filter, and I'm going to go to liquify, and Photoshop's going to open up this huge box here. I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing, and you can see the eyes here, and they have a section here in the Photoshop here for eye size. And what I'm going to do, I can control the left and the right eye individually as far as the size, the height, the width, and even the tilt. Okay, Photoshop has done a really good job with this and made it so idiot proof. So you can see I'm sliding this and I'm moving the eye, increasing it. Okay, so I'm just moving it until I feel, and that's just a little bit there. Take the right eye and right about there, the eye height. And again, don't overdo on the adjustments. Okay. And make sure you keep the symmetry between the eyes. You don't want to have one eye look worse than the other eye. Okay, so we can do the preview. There's before, and there's after. Okay, this right eye here is just a little bit. Let's try this one again. Okay, that's not looking too bad. So the other thing too is I'm noticing here is now that I'm in here, the upper lip. The upper lip, we kind of lost it here for some reason, and we can turn around and bring back some of that upper lip if we're careful. Okay. The upper lip, we have an adjustment right here for the upper lip. And you don't want to overhand. Okay, there's the upper lip. See what I just did there? Bring it up here. But I can bring it up. And again, try not to be heavy-handed. Because it makes a difference, right? You notice we're moving the whole thing up and changing our smile. We don't want to change it from natural. Okay? So I think that just makes just enough difference, as you can see there. Okay, and again, looking at the eyes before and the after. Looking at the upper lip, the before and the after. Again, I can't stress enough, when you're editing, subtle, minor changes make all the difference in the world. Go ahead and hit OK. And now we have the adjustments made. Okay, so our next thing is going to be the braces. Now this is going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of work. So I think we're going to go ahead and pick up the braces removal and make that a separate episode. So I'll make it part of a playlist, so that'll be the next video in the playlist. So we'll pick it up from there.